I'm Apostle Amy, and this is my story of how I overcame cancer. The year was 1990. I was a 12-year-old. So one day, as I was out playing with my friends, my dad looked at me and asked me what I was eating. The next day, we went to the hospital. So upon arrival, the doctor checked me up, and since it was a dental problem, he referred us to Nairobi Dental School. So we went, and upon checking, they called it a cyst. So that one I didn't know what it was, and they drew some water from it. The cyst, okay, what I came to understand is that a cyst is something that has fluid in it. So they drew some fluid from it, and they went and they checked it up. So surgery was recommended. So that is what we did. After a month, we did the surgery. So I stayed in hospital. I was at Nazareth Hospital. I stayed in that hospital for about a month or so. So I recovered from the surgery and went back home. After roughly 2-3 months, the swelling was back. So my dad took me back to hospital, and upon being checked, I was told that another surgery was needed to be done. So we went back to hospital. They did the second surgery, and I went through the medications for 1.5 months or so and went back home. So again, this is now 1991. Again, the swelling continued. It was a tumor. So the tumor continued swelling. And when we went back for checkup, they said it was a malignant tumor. I didn't know what it was. And they said that we needed another operation. So I went back for the third time. This time it was intense. The medications made me weak. I was so weak that I was taken to a ward that was next to a ward that they called a side ward. So the side ward had the critically ill patients. So I was taken there. I think by looking at my condition, they saw as if I was going towards that side. So one night, I saw a shadow. It passed through the wall. Remember, the side wall, what was between us, me and the side wall, was just a wall. And you can see it in a hospital. They are not walls. They are like windows. And half of that window is colored, the bottom half. So that was the only thing that was between me and that side ward. So a dark shadow passed from our side of the ward, and it like kind of entered the side ward. And then after some time, I could hear nurses talking in whispering, then the beeping sound of the machines. I could hear the resuscitating machine, how they were trying to resuscitate that patient, and quiet for a long time, whispers, and then the beeping went off. Then after some time, I heard the steps of the undertaker coming to take that body. At that time, I didn't know what had happened. But the steps, that undertaker used to wear boots. So you could hear as he's coming with his cart to take the body. Remember, I was just a young girl. This is new to me. The undertaker came with his cart. You could hear the screeching sound of the cart as it comes, the squeaking sound of the cart as he came. So I think he took the body because I didn't see. But in the morning, could hear people saying, oh, that lady passed on. So that was a wake-up call for me. I've encountered a death. That is the first time I'm hearing about death. And I could replay what happened at that night in my mind. The shadow, the beeping of the machines, the oxygen machines, the sound of the resuscitating machine, the whispers, the murmuring, and then the silence. Then came the steps of the undertaker and his cart. So I could replay that in my head and think about those things, and I was like, did I see a shadow? Or was I hallucinating from the heavy medication? So I brushed it off, and the days continued. So I think after around 2 or 3 days, the same shadow passed. The same things happened. The murmuring of the nurses, the whispers, the beeping sounds, the resuscitating machine, then the silence, then the steps of the undertaker, then the squeaking of his cart as it comes. Oh God, that's when I started asking myself, what is happening? Is it the repetition in my mind, or is it actually happening? Then remember, this time now, I'm not heavily medicated. So I knew what was happening. And this time I could feel it for real. I saw the shadow for real. So this time it's not morning, the same night, I could hear people saying, the second woman from the second bed. Remember the first one? Number 1, number 2 has died. So death was real to me. And that is when I decided I'm not going to die. Because look at it, it's coming in sequences. 1, 2. Lo and behold, the worst happened. After some time, I think a week or so, I saw the shadow and the same thing happened. Remember, these women were critically ill. So in my small mind, I thought, I'm the next one. I threw tantrums at the nurses and told them that I'm not going to sleep in that bed. So the nurses viewed it as a okay. I didn't understand what it was all about, and they told me it does not happen like that. I will not die because of sleeping on that bed. But I refused adamantly. I said I won't. And they refused to relocate me to another bed. So I just waited for my father. And he came. And I told him I'm not sleeping on that bed because of so and so and so and so. So he ordered for them to change me. This is a father. And the daughter is sick. And what can he do than to give me what I want? And at that moment, I wanted to be relocated from that bed. And he told them not only from that bed, but from the ward as well. So it happened, and I went to another bed, another ward. So I finished my month there, and I was about to be discharged. So I had forgotten about the whole episode. And I was happy to go home. But let me tell you, there's something that happened. That bed was vacant for that whole time, that whole month. And one day, a patient came in and was assigned to that bed. The same night, she died. This time I didn't see the shadow. This time I didn't hear the beeping of the machines, breathing machines. I didn't hear anything. I didn't even hear the steps of the undertaker. I didn't hear the cat. But in the morning, the next day, word went around that woman had died. Maybe they just thought it was another death. But imagine what that did to me. I thought that if I was the one who slept in that bed that night, I would have died. And that one you could not take from me. That's what I knew. And that was it. So my day came to be discharged and I went home. So after some time, the same thing happened. The cancer was back. So I needed to go to another surgery. I was devastated. This time, I was wondering if I was that weak from the third surgery, what about this one? And remember what had happened around that time, the deaths. So somehow, I didn't want to go back there. But the surgery had to be done. But thank God, this time I didn't go back to Nazareth. I went to Kenyatta. Phew, at least. I went there. And the surgery was to be done. This time, it was to take a longer time because they had to remove this part of the jaw, just a small part. And then they had to take a rib from me, from here, on my right side, and they put there. So I think it took around 12 to 17 hours doing all that. So when I got out of surgery, there's that ward that they put you first until you recover. Then they take you. You recover from the anesthesia. Then they take you to the normal wards. So from there, they know where to take you, either to the normal wards or the ICU, according to how you've woken up. So my doctor, God bless that doctor. He had finished everything, he was going home. As he was walking towards his car, he just felt that, he has to come and check on me. So he came back. And he found I was gasping for air. I was trying to breathe. It was so hard for me. So he alerted the nurses, and they came. The beeping, the resuscitating machine, as they were resuscitating me, and I was taken to the ICU. So I stayed there for 5 days. So on the 5th day, my parents were called by the doctor. You know, when you're in a coma, I was in a coma. So when you're in a coma, you can hear everything that everyone is saying around you. But you cannot open your eyes or do anything, cannot lift it. Your hearing is alert, but any other organ does not function. So I was hearing what they were saying. And the doctor came with my parents to see me. And then he told them, we've tried our best as doctors, and she's not responding to the medication. So it has been 5 days, and there's nothing good about the situation. So with your permission, we'd like to put off the machines. So my mom cried bitterly. That was the first time that I ever heard my mom crying. She was a strong woman, but she cried, asking if there was anything else that could be done. So when I heard the sound of my mom crying, I asked myself, don't they see that I'm here? I'm not dead. Why are they talking about death? And I said to myself, I'm not dying. I'm not. I just listened for them as my mom was crying, the doctor was talking, and I purposed to live. And somehow God put a verse in me. Remember, I didn't know God at this point. We never used to go to church. But thank you to my CRE teacher, because the teachers told me that God loved me, that He loved us so much that He gave His only Son to die for us. So if He died for us, that whoever believes in Him should not perish but have life everlasting. So I said I will not die. And God gave me a verse. And I declared that verse inside of me over and over again. I will not die but live. I will not die but live. I didn't even know how it ended, the verse. But I will say it repeatedly. I will not die but live. I will not die but live. I will not, until I opened my eyes. So when I opened my eyes, the beeping of the machine changed. So the doctor looked at me and they were ushering the others, hey, get out, get out. Then they came, that team looked me over, the nurses, there was some commotion as they were trying to understand what has just happened. And I thank God. When they checked me up, they saw that I'm okay. I thank God till today, because I believed and I declared and He healed me. So my parents were ushered back in and they were told they don't know what happened. But somehow, after around 3 to 2 hours, they'll be able to put off the machine, but for a different cause. Not because I will be dying, but because I will be living. So I stayed for that time, and everything went well. I went back to the general wards. So when I got back there, the treatments, my God, they were so painful. They had put a drip on the side of of my left hand, somewhere here. So at that time I didn't know. Still I was young, didn't know anything. They were putting medication through that drip. I think that is chemo. I came to realize later that that's what they do. I don't know. So remember, they used to say it is a malignant tumor. There's nowhere that they had said it was cancer. But maybe they were saying that, I don't know, for me or something like that. But my dad knew. They knew how severe the situation was. But I think at that time, even if you would have mentioned cancer, not many people knew about cancer. So the treatment was so painful. They used to put that drip. Then they were injecting me on my hips. Those injections were equally painful. I remember at one time I even went to the lifts to hide so that I could not be injected. Those injections were after every 6 hours. So I could hide in the lifts and think that the doctor will go, only to go back and find him there waiting for me. So I was treated and I went back home. Before being discharged, I asked God, God, you took me out of that machine. Please, I'm begging you, may this disease not come back. That's all I told God. And I believed the God who saved me from that death in Nazareth Hospital, the God who saved me from that death in the ICU, is the same God that will heal me completely of this disease. And true, God healed me. I went back there for the checkups and I was declared cancer-free. I was happy. But remember, still I didn't know the magnitude of that. I didn't know what it was. And I was happy. So no more going back to hospital, just for checkups for some time. And that was it. I remember when doing my KCP that year, I think it was just a few days to the KCPE. That's when I was discharged. So during my KCPE, I was still so drowsy from the medication. And remember, I had stayed in the hospital for more than 1 month. So from hospital straight to exams. And thank God, I passed. So I've stayed that way for a very long time without getting any complication, any disease. I remember I even hated big hospitals because of the encounters that I've had there. So when I even gave birth to my children, I opted to go to small hospitals. I had a phobia for the hospitals, especially the dentist. So after that, I didn't speak much of my disease. Only people close to me knew about that. I'm that one person who blocks some memories. If I don't want to remember something, I block it. So I blocked that from my system completely. Somewhere around 2015, 2016, I guess. 2015, I can't remember which year it was. I was in a group, and in that group, one of our friends, their child had cancer. So we went to see the child, and we went back home. So when we went there, I remembered, because I was seeing these children, I remembered the Kenyatta ward. I was in Kenyatta, and this was in Kenyatta also. So I remembered what it was like back then. All the memories came flooding back. And we went back home. The wounds were open now. I knew somehow that I had to go back there. And after 2 weeks, I went back there, this time alone. So I went there, and I found the small children there with cancer. We played with them. I fed those who were unable to feed themselves. Some didn't have appetite because of the chemo. I could look at them and only wish that I could have the powers to heal them, because I knew what they were going through. So we played, we sang, and I prayed for them, and I went back home. So 2 weeks later, I went back there. And I found some familiar faces, others were new, others were discharged. And then there was a very jolly girl there, full of energy. She was the soloist to every song. I didn't see her. Her name was Faith. I cannot forget. So I asked casually, "And where is Faith?" And then a boy, I can't remember his name, told me, "Oh, Faith died." And he continued playing. I was shocked. And I started crying. I've never cried like that, because I could imagine that pure soul, so happy, so full of energy. And she's normal. I cried. Then the children were asking me, "Auntie, why are you crying?" And I would tell them, "I'm happy." No, you cannot cry when you're happy. Yeah, sometimes you cry when you're happy. They were even trying to give me the sweets that I had taken to them to make me happy. I was traumatized. I thought about it, and I knew I was not ready for this. I knew I was not ready for this. And I vowed never to go back there. But on my way out, I went to say bye to the children, those who were in bed, and praying for them. Then I found a couple at their child's bedside. And the girl had the same illness as I had. So I talked to them, And I told them about myself and what I went through, the number of times surgery was done to me. And if I'm standing there after all those years, means that their child will also be okay. I talked to them, preached to them, and even the father gave his life to Christ. So as I went back home, I knew I was not going back there. I knew I was not going back there. I was so broken about faith. So somehow after 1 month, I found myself back there again. This time I didn't even want to ask about anyone. But remember the small boy who told me Faith died? He also died. And upon asking about that girl, can't remember her name, that had a cancer similar to mine, I was told that she got well and she went home. At least I was happy about that one. And I knew God wanted me to go back home with a victory. He didn't want me to be there, sitting thinking about the deaths. He wanted me to think about what He has done, about healing that girl. And I prayed for her daily. I know right now she's about, at that time she was maybe 3-4 years. So right now she's about, I think, 13. And I believe that God healed her. So, I want to tell you one thing. Cancer is not a death sentence. I was diagnosed with it at a time that it was not known. So the technology was not advanced. So I want to talk to someone out there who was diagnosed as having cancer or has been battling this disease. It is not the end. It is the beginning of a beautiful thing. It is the beginning of a relationship between you and God. I didn't tell you, when I entered Form 1, I got born again. Because I wanted this God who healed me. I wanted to know this God who loved me that much. And in my small mind, I was thinking about the verse that His Son died that I should live. So I believed that He died on my behalf so that I didn't die at that time. But obviously, as the years went by, I came to know the real meaning of the verse. Cancer is not a death sentence. So many are living cancer-free. I am one in particular. 33 years have passed from that time. And I bless the Lord. I was a small girl of 13 years. I didn't even know God. I didn't even know how to pray. Yet God listened to that silent prayer. I quoted a verse that I didn't know the meaning. But since it had those two words, death and life, I took it and ran with it. And no one could take that word from me from that day. That is where my faith began. My mother once told me that everything works together for good, for those who love the Lord and are called to His purpose. That was my second verse that I used to date. First, the verse that God gave me. The second one was that my mother gave me. Oh, she became born again later on in life. She was even preaching. I am what I am today because of that cancer. It made my relationship with God strong. I believed in everything about God. I knew what He could do. Oh, by the way, I came to know the ending of that verse. I will not die but live to proclaim what the Lord has done. Psalms 118:17. A verse I live by. After all that I've told you, I'd love to leave you with this. I'd like to leave you with this. Pray and believe. If you have cancer, let nobody tell you that you just pray and believe. Pray, believe, and take your medications. Go to those chemos. That's why there is a doctor. That's why the medicine is there. God heals. He cures. But you still need that doctor and the medication. I'm a living testimony that cancer is just but a disease. And it has a cure. One other thing. There are those who had breast cancer. And the breasts were removed. I guess it is called mastectomy. And they hate themselves. The others, it was of the womb. They feel less of a woman. Today, I want to show you about my scar. It's a scar that I have. And it's visible to all. I don't hide myself. I even love the scar because without this scar, it could not be healed. Don't shy away from that. Love yourself regardless. Love yourself. And I also want to talk to that other person who is going through any other situation in their life. Not only disease, anything. God heals every wound. It does not matter what has happened in your life previously. It does not matter what is happening now. God heals those wounds. Pray, believe, and it will happen. So remember, it can only get better. Blessings.